In March of 2014, Front Beach Road in Panama City Beach, Florida was exactly what you'd expect it to be. Neon lights, crowded rental houses, and thousands of college students looking for a week of escape. Among them was 21-year-old Reny. But Reny wasn't your typical spring breaker. He was a senior mechanical engineering major at Rice University, carrying a flawless 4.0 GPA. He had already ordered his graduation cap and gown. He had already bought the business suits for his upcoming job interviews and meticulously revised his resume. He even printed out his very first batch of professional business cards. He was a young man with a precise blueprint for his future. But on March 3, 2014, just 4 days into a trip with 22 of his college peers, his dreams vanished, and so did he. When a person vanishes from a crowded beach house shared by more than 20 classmates, you expect answers. You expect a timeline built on 22 different viewpoints. Instead, what Reny's family found was a wall of silence, conflicting stories, and a mass exit from a crime scene before the police even arrived. Today, we're looking at a case requested by one of our viewers, a case where the official theory points to a tragic accident, but the timeline, the physics of the scene, and the behavior of those who were there leave a devastating number of unanswered questions. This is the disappearance of Reny on Unsolved, Florida. To understand the tragedy of what happened in Panama City, you have to understand who Reny was back in Houston, Texas, and home in New York. He graduated from Shaker High School. Reny was known as an incredibly studious, driven, and dependable person. At Rice University, one of the most selective colleges in the country, he excelled. He wasn't a partier. His routine was built around his studies, his goals, and his family. And when March 2014 rolled around, Reny decided he wanted to join a massive group of his friends from Rice University, about 22 other students, for one last spring break trip before graduation. It was supposed to be a celebratory final party. His mother was glad to hear he was going to take a break and have some fun, though like any mother, she warned him to be careful. On March 1st, a group arrived at a rental home on Front Beach Road, but by March 3rd, less than 48 hours later, everything fell apart. So let's look at the timeline, because this is where the narrative begins to be confusing. On Monday, March 3rd, someone in the house recalls seeing Reny at approximately 7 p.m., and that is the last confirmed sighting. He isn't seen for the rest of the night by any of the roommates. He isn't seen the next morning, but it isn't until 11 a.m. on Tuesday, March 4th, about 16 hours later, that his friends finally called the Bay County Sheriff's Department to report him missing. So what happened in those 16 hours, and more importantly, what was left behind? When investigators began looking, they found pieces of Reny scattered in a way that defied logic for someone who just got up and walked away. So around 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning, and this is the morning after the last confirmed sighting, beach cleanup crews working the sand along Front Beach Road noticed a pile of clothes left near the water. These clothes were later confirmed to belong to Reny. At around 11 a.m., so 16 hours the last confirmed sighting, Reny's friends finally contact the authorities. They report he hasn't been seen since 7 p.m. the previous evening. And then behind their rental, searchers look around the immediate property of the rental home. Inside, or right next to the trash bin behind the house, they find more of Reny's clothing alongside his cell phone. Inside Reny's bedroom, untouched, sits his wallet, laptop, his packed suitcase. Everything he would need to go back home was still inside the house. The Bay County Sheriff's Department quickly formed a theory. They believed Reny had willingly taken LSD, making a sudden, uncharacteristic remark about wanting to hurt himself, and walked into the freezing March ocean waters where he drowned. And to them, it was case closed and just an unfortunate spring break tragedy. But of course, Reny's close family immediately pushed back. They pointed out that drug use was entirely not something he would do. Furthermore, he was a straight-A student looking forward to a life he had actively been preparing for just days prior. I mean, he printed out business cards. And the final thing was the behavior of all of his classmates. So by the time Reny's family arrived in Florida frantically looking for him, they all left. 16 of the students had already packed their bags and went home. The local authorities did not detain them for questioning. Instead, they interviewed them later, way later, over the phone once they were already scattered back from where they had came from. Of the 6 students who remained at the house when the family arrived, 2 of them flat out refused to speak to the family. 1 immediately hired a criminal defense lawyer, and then 4 of them gave conflicting accounts of what Reny was doing and saying before he vanished. If this was simply a tragic accidental drowning of a beloved classmate, why did the walls go up so fast? Why did 16 people leave? Why did someone hire an attorney? Why is no one helping the police for an active missing persons investigation? Reny Jose was 21 years old. Today, he should be a 34-year-old mechanical engineer with a career, a family, and a life built on the brilliance he showed every day in university. Instead, his family has spent over a decade fighting a wall of silence. His mother and family maintain a Facebook page called Find Reny Jose, where they still advocate for him, refusing to let his name be forgotten. So if you're on Facebook, please look up their page and follow them. They post a lot more pictures of the classmates, which I'm not going to post on here because I don't want to post all their faces. But go check it out if you're interested in this case. Maybe you know one of them. And if you were in Panama City Beach in the first week of March in 2014, and if you stayed near Front Beach Road or have any information about what truly happened inside that rental house, please do the right thing. You can contact the Bay County Sheriff's Office at 850-747-4700. Reny's family deserves the truth. Thank you to my viewer who requested this case. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I truly am under the belief that something happened in that house, and a lot of people are covering up. It's been about 12 years, so how long is it going to take until one of them comes forward? If you're near Panama City or Houston, Texas, please consider sharing this video. You never know who will see it, and who knows what small piece of information that could finally give investigators the tip that they've been needing. If you'd like to remain anonymous, you can always call Crime Stoppers. Their number is on the screen here. Again, thank you guys for watching. I know this was a little bit longer of an episode. We'll see you next time on Unsolved Florida.